with that out of the way, we're going to dive in. I got to talk about a few things, actually, before we get into the actual Iran war update. Okay, so Professor Jiang called me out. Professor Chang, what the fuck is that? This Chinese communist spy from Canada, this fake professor, has called me out. Did you see this? I did Sneako's stream on Saturday, and he asked me what I thought of the YouTube sensation Professor Jiang. And I said, he's okay, but he's getting a lot of things wrong. He's getting a lot of things wrong. He is one of these Duganists that is pushing the Khazarian mafia theory, which exculpates the Jews for their guilt in killing God, among other things. I said, so he's okay, but he just gets things wrong. And I specifically said, I don't agree with that. And some of his doomsday end times prophecy stuff, that's wrong too. And it just seems to be a lot of conspiracy slop. He is one of these people that believes that Trump went to war with Iran so that he could run for a third term and stop elections from happening. So it's this weird mix of like Jesuit, Freemason, Khazarian mafia, resistance liberal. It's just all this conspiracy slop in a pot all together. And I said, yeah, I don't think this is true. And I said that on Saturday with specificity. Well, Professor Jiang fires back on Sneako's stream and says, well, I think Nick Fuentes is a Fed because the conclusions he's drawing don't come from first principles. He's being paid to say things. Paid to say things. First of all, who even are you? When you do your classroom lectures, are there even people there? You call yourself a professor. I think you're a high school teacher. So that's for openers. So who are you lecturing about geopolitics? Your degree is in English. You got a BA in English. You teach high school, but you're giving these courses on YouTube. Is there an audience? We don't even know. About geopolitics and eschatology and all this other stuff. Honestly, is it a class? Because that would be really disturbing if there wasn't. Could you imagine? He's on like a whiteboard drawing and he's writing all these words on it like this is a lecture. He's writing like, so Iran is Muslim. That's literally, he goes, so Iran is a Muslim country, Muslim. And they're going to try to have an uprising. And he's writing on a whiteboard. You think this is his lecture for his university. It isn't. He doesn't teach it. He doesn't teach at a university. So that's just like scary, actually. So he's calling me out, and I just want to say with some specificity, what conclusions of mine are wrong? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to know which of my conclusions don't derive from first principles.
If you don't know who Professor Jiang is, he's a viral professor from Beijing, apparently for high school, right? He's been going viral for his takes, specifically on the Iran war. Many people do find him an entertaining professor to watch.
There should be 3 countries that will emerge as great empires in our history, okay? Germany. Why? Because they lost World War I and lost World War II. Does that make sense, guys? They were never an empire.
I've seen a couple of his lectures. It is kind of interesting. He says things like it's the end of the world, that Dubai is over with. He even went as far as to say that US is going to invade Iran from Pakistan. Fast forward, Nick Fuentes was on Sneako's stream, and Sneako asked Nick Fuentes, what does he think about Professor Jiang? He didn't assault him, violate him, or anything type of way. That prompted this response from Professor Jiang.
Look.
Okay.
Sorry, but Nick Fuentes clearly has a political agenda. The guy's a smart guy, but some of his conclusions are clearly manufactured. He's not working from first principles. He's not working, I think, he's a pretty smart guy. And some of the things he says, Some of the things he says is like, someone's paying you to say that. I don't know, okay, but I'm saying something going on with Nick.
That's my challenge to Professor Jiang, because I told him what my problem is. The Khazarian theory is bullshit. It's just fake. There's no genetic evidence to support it. There's no historical evidence to support it. To the best of our knowledge, that is actually a Jewish psyop, which is meant to prevent Jewish people from being blamed for killing Jesus. Okay? He also says that I don't know the difference between Judaism and Zionism. Well, Zionism proceeds from Judaism, obviously. Obviously. Cannot separate one from the other. They're inextricable. So that's my problem with you. Now I want to know what conclusions he thinks I'm being paid to say. I'm really curious about that. But I saw it on Sneako's stream, and I'm like, this like Chi-Com from Canada is now calling me a Fed. Here's the difference. I've been doing this for 10 years. Where did you come from? Oh, I know. You got deported from China because you were working for the U.S. government with PBS. That's what we know about you, buddy. So what's the beef? We got a problem? Hey, let's solve it. I didn't like that. That was crazy. Big mistake. And you know what? I'm kidding a little bit. I'm being totally serious, but I'm hamming it up a little bit. But you know something? It is actually really depressing because we are in this it's hard even to find the words. We're in a war with Iran. For those that are just joining us, that have not been around the block, it is hard to convey the gravity of the situation, not just because of how unthinkable it is. We did Iraq, we did Libya, we did Syria. The ramifications, we're still dealing with it. The cost, the refugee crisis, the footprint for American empire, we're still dealing with all of that. In many ways, the Trump revolution, this political moment that we're in, is a product of that. And here we are again, another war in the Gulf. That's really what all these wars were. You had 1990, Desert Storm, the first Persian Gulf War. 2003, Iraqi Freedom, the second Persian Gulf War. 2025-26, the third Persian Gulf War against Iran. It's unthinkable. And the consequences of this are even more unbelievable, which is that Israel will have hegemony over the region. They will have succeeded. It's a different world. And anyway, we're in the middle of this. People have questions. They want to know what's going on. And it's our responsibility to tell them, okay, it's my responsibility as someone with a platform and someone with information, and it is for other people too. And I just feel like you have a lot of bad actors that are flooding the zone now with just garbage, with just slop. And by that, I mean, and again, listen, this is a time for unity, but I see someone like Candace Owens who says the Khazarian mafia is bringing the world to the brink of World War III. And you go, it's not the Khazarian mafia. And you got these guys like Professor Jiang, and they say Trump doesn't want another election. That's why he's fighting in the war. And it's the Frankists from 300 years ago. And you see this kind of stuff and you go, these slot merchants are winning. They have a big megaphone. They're flooding the zone with garbage. Garbage takes. Oh, it's all a distraction from Epstein. This, that, and the other thing. And it's really difficult to watch because this is a moment when everybody should be rallying to the side of the truth. And we're getting a half-truth.
I love a good conspiracy theory just as much as the next person, and it's easy to build a following if you have some radical take. That's why we have the Jackson Hinkles. Candace Owens has her fan base. So we should be more united. I do agree with Nick on that. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys big fans of Professor Jiang, or do you think Nick Fuentes is right to calling them out? Let me know in the comment section. Peace.